Thank you. Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for inviting me to join you at the World Government Summit. It's an honor to be with all of you here today to confront the challenges of global climate change, to discuss, to learn, to take action. I'm especially pleased to be here in the year of Zayed. The words of Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan set the tone for our gathering. Quote, "On land and in the sea, our forefathers lived and survived in this environment. They were able to do so because they recognized the need to conserve it, to take from it only what they needed to live and to preserve it for succeeding generations." What vision? I flew here last night from a backward country, a place where science once reigned and has lately been replaced by ignorance, where civilized behavior has been overwhelmed by loss of reason, and responsible policy is overlooked in service of greed. In the country I'm describing, government ministries have been warned against using terms like science-based and evidence-based. This is true. Does that sound familiar? It does to me. I'm talking about my own country, the United States of America. We don't like to say we are a backward country, so let's just say we're suffering from a case of temporary insanity. A recent example, earlier this week, the head of the so-called Environmental Protection Agency asked whether global warming, quote, necessarily is a bad thing, end of quote. My country will eventually cure itself by voting our dangerous leader and his benighted ministers out of office. Then we can then we can restore sanity to our policies and dignity to our relations with other countries. I'm not here to talk about America's politics, but America's politics has an effect on the crisis we're here to engage. Under Trump's direction, America's arrogance is doing lasting damage to our planet, and we are all paying the consequences. This is not the will of the American people. We overwhelmingly disagree with Trump, who has infamously said, "I don't believe in climate change." We understand that climate change is a man-made phenomenon, and our eyes confirm to us the tragedies our planet is suffering as a result. The good news is that while America has withdrawn from world leadership in the areas of science, policy, and humanity, there are other nations with the resources, intelligence, and heart to step up, and that's what brings us here today. Our hosts for this essential summit understand that it's only through international cooperation that we can reverse the devastation caused by man-made climate change. And I think it has to go way beyond symbolic agreements like the Paris Climate Accord, and as important as that is, we, that is, each of us individually, have to identify as citizens the world, not just as of our countries. We have to recognize that we do and can have an effect on our brothers and sisters 10,000 miles away, and that our hearts do not make a distinction between an unfortunate soul in our country and one who lives outside our borders. A family that has lost its home in Dallas, Texas, is not more tragic than one that has lost its home in Puerto Rico or Somalia or Iran or Bangladesh or the Maldives or Barbuda. Minister Thani Al-Zayudi has eloquently identified the challenge and is providing leadership in meeting it. Thank you, Dr. Al-Zayudi. Zayudi, excuse me. I first came to Barbuda as a tourist. With time, I came to appreciate the people, their history, and their approach to living. Whether I'm having a swim off one of the beautiful beaches, enjoying a lobster lunch at Uncle Roddy's, exploring the island, or just hanging out, I feel at home on Barbuda and would like to be a part of its rebuilding and future. The story of Barbuda is a reminder to me that we don't just need substantial, sustainable energy. We need to rebuild sustainable communities. Communities are made of people. We must do great things, but do them on a human scale. There's a consensus among scientists that man-made climate change influences the frequency, size, and intensity of catastrophic weather events. The repercussions of environmental abuse by the superpowers like the United States, China, and Russia fall unfairly on the innocent inhabitants in places like Barbuda and the Maldives, places where there is virtually no carbon footprint, and sustainable living is part of their DNA. The initiative of the United Arab Emirates to raise awareness and help fund sustainable energy and to protect resources is a model for how to have a humanitarian response and a template for what a responsible future will look like. I'm here today to acknowledge that work, to say thank you, and to share my hope and that the rest of the world follows the example of the UAE and all of you. Thank you.